Hi guys, this is Mrs. Lyons. This video is an example of how we solve conversion problems. We've done this in class a little bit, but just in case there are those who are still struggling with this before we move on, I want to make sure that you've got something to reference if you get stuck. So here's our example problem. It says how many feet in 4.86 meters? Okay, remember what we want to do when we set up a problem is establish a few things. We want to identify our given. We said our given is always going to have a number in front of it. So in this case, in our problem, our given is 4.86 meters. And then our unknown is always going to be what the question's asking for. So in this case, how many feet? So what I'm trying to find out is how many feet in that many meters. Okay, I already looked up our equality statement, but you have your conversion factors sheet, or I'll always give you a conversion factor. That is our equality statement. So notice that our equality statement has both meters and feet in it. It tells us how many meters is equal to how many feet. So in this case, 1 meter is 3.28 feet. So now it's a matter of setting up our truth table. Okay, so remember our truth table always starts out with our given here. So what goes here is always going to be what's our given. That's always going to be over 1 without units. No units on that 1. It's just saying that this is a whole number. It's over 1. Okay? And then we want to put our equality statement in here. Okay? And we have to figure out our equality statement has 2 parts. It has 1 meter, it has 3.28 feet. So which part of that goes on the top, which goes on the bottom? The way that we figure this out is our units. We always want to let our units guide us. So we look up here. Here we have meters. That tells us that our units down here have to match up so that they'll cancel out. That means our units down here have to be meters. So if we look at our equality statement, I have 1 meter is equal to the other part of my equality statement, 3.28 feet. Now, if I go plug that into my calculator, remember I am going to always multiply everything across the top and divide by anything on the bottom. So I'm going to take 4.86 times 3.28, and that is going to give me, on my calculator, 15.9408. Remember, we want to round to 2 places after the decimal. So I'm going to round this to 15.94. Remember, my units are going to be the same as what I'm looking for. So 15.94 feet in that problem. Let's do another example. This one says, how many inches in 124 centimeters? So again, our given is the part of the problem that has a number in it. So 124 centimeters. Our unknown is the what's being asked, so how many inches, okay? So now we have to set this up in a problem. And I noticed that for some reason my equality statement has two lines in it. I don't really need those 2 lines. So I'm going to see if I can cover this up. No, maybe I can't. So I don't need 2 conversions. I just need 1 conversion factor here. So I'm going to set it up the same way that I have. I am going to put my given here, so 124 centimeters. All right, and then I have to figure out, using my equality statement, 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. I have to figure out what goes on the top of my equality statement conversion, what goes on the bottom. Again, we have to remember that if we follow the units are going to guide us to the right answer. So I want to put centimeters down here on the bottom because I've got centimeters up on the top. So if I look at my equality statement, in my equality statement I have 2.54 centimeters is equal to 1 inch. Okay, so now to do this math, I'm going to take 124, I'm going to divide by 2.54 because it's on the bottom of my truth table. So if I do that math, I get 48.8188976378. Remember, I want to round to 2 places, so I'm going to round to 8. I'm going to round that 1 up to a 2 because it's followed by a bigger number. And then my units are inches. Okay, so this is just kind of a walkthrough of a couple of examples of how we set up single-step problems. I'm going to do one more example for us that I'm going to set up a 2-step problem. So let's say how many minutes in 24, you know what, let's not do 24. Let's do, as of right now, we have 42 days of school left. So how many minutes in 42 days? All right, so we want to go through the same steps. What is our given? What is our unknown? And what is our equality statement? Okay, so in this problem, our given is 42 days. Our unknown is minutes. Now, I don't know right off of the top of my head how many minutes there are in 42 days, or how many minutes there are in a day for that matter. What I do know is that there's 60 minutes in 1 hour, and then I also know that there are 24 hours in 1 day. Okay, so now I have equality statements, and I have 2 of them that take me from minutes to days. Now, if I have 2 equality statements, this is where I have to set up my truth table with 2 parts, 1 for each equality statement. I'm going to set it up the same way. I'm going to start with my given, 42 days over 1. Now, I have to figure out what goes in this first conversion. Okay? I'm going to let my units guide me. So I look, I've got days here. So that tells me I want days to go down here. Now the question is, which of my equality statements has days in it? Oh look, this one. So 1 day is 24 hours. Okay, now my second equality statement, I also need to know what goes on the top, what goes on the bottom. We use this same principle. Whatever units are on the top here come down and go on the bottom. So if I have hours on the top, I'm going to want hours on the bottom. Okay, so now let's see. I have 2 equality statements with hours in them. How do I know which one to use? Well, for one thing, I've already used 24 hours in 1 day. So I can't use it twice. That wouldn't make sense. And I want to get to minutes. So I know that there's 1 hour is 60 minutes. Now all that's left is doing the math. And since all of my big numbers are on top, everything except ones, I'm going to multiply 42 times 24 times 60. It's going to give me 60,480 minutes in 42 days. That doesn't seem so bad. All right, so hopefully this has helped a little bit walk you through. You should make sure you have a good understanding of this, because what we're doing next in mole conversions, this is the technique we're going to use. So there you go, conversions, dimensional analysis. I will see you soon.